Hello, welcome to this week's podcast. My name is Trey Stewart. This is my very handsome co-host and husband, Mr. Zachary Luker.
Hello, Mr. Trey Stewart. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Oh, good.
for
I'm so
asking.
glad.
So, we were in Europe for the last, feels like a month, but it was like 11 days. But we're back.
It was supposed to be 10, but it turned into 11.
Christmas decor is up,
Yes.
kind of. Zachary, how many trees do you have this year?
We have 5.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what you have against the tree that I owned prior to you coming to my life, but it really is treated like the ugly stepchild. Zach has 5 trees, and we still have one in the attic, and he keeps buying more trees, but won't use my tree. What do you have against my tree, Zach?
Well, your tree wouldn't fit where I needed it to go.
What's wrong with it?
It just looks like a cheap Christmas tree.
But it's not.
I mean, no, it's a big Christmas tree. I give you that. So it was not cheap, but it doesn't look like
rude.
It just looks like a cheap Christmas tree.
Okay.
And the ornaments that you have for it are...
Yeah, the ornaments were cheap, but
They
your
were
ornaments are
very
really expensive.
They are. And they look great.
Last night, we were showing one of Zach's friends all the trees in the house.
We'll give him a shout out. Hey, Joseph.
And Zach
I know
was
you.
like,
I know you won't hear this because you don't listen to the podcast. Speaking of, remind me to come back to this topic.
Zach was like caressing his ornaments. It was very strange, the relationship he has with
When I was
his
explaining
ornaments.
them,
And he was like, this one was like hand blown.
it was.
And I was like, how much was that? And he goes, very expensive. And I was like, how many do we have? He goes, a lot. I was like, excuse me?
Yeah, they're very nice ornaments. And you really got to like stand there and look at the tree and you got to look at it more than once because there's so many things on it that at first glance you're not going to notice it all. So then you look at it again and you're like, oh, I see that. Oh, I see that.
He does. Almost every day, he just like admires one tree.
I do. I love just sitting there and looking at them.
Yeah.
They're my favorite.
I didn't realize. Well, I knew we were getting a tree in our bedroom. I didn't realize what the theme of the tree was. And Zach conveniently missed that when he was sharing with me all the different trees. So everything else
Well, I
is the
gave
same.
you like 90% of the theme.
Yeah, so he was like, we're going to do a disco ball tree in our room. And I was like,
And we did.
oh, okay, that's going to be bright. And then in the mail, we got this like mirror ball looking like spaceship.
It's like a UFO.
Yeah. And then he wanted to put my rhinestone cowboy hat in there. I was like, huh? And then he got little miniature cowboy hats to put in there. And I've recently learned that it's a Beyonce tree.
Yeah, it turned into
It's
one.
his Alien Superstar.
It is. I even took my Alien Superstar shirt from the Renaissance World Tour, and laid it across the tree collar, so it's very obvious what it is.
Yeah. Tonight we're going to see the Beyonce movie, and I think I'm just going to see like a whole new side of you tonight. I'm not for sure if I'm really prepared.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. I'm
curious
surprised
to
you're
see-
going.
I didn't know I had a ticket, to be honest.
I bought them with you and told you that I got you one, and you've asked me about it several times, and
Well,
then you were like, "Oh, so I
exciting.
really am going?" And I was like, "Well, yeah. I mean, if you want,
I'm
you don't
excited
have
to see
to go."
how the audience reacts at the Beyonce movie versus the Taylor Swift movie. Because the Taylor Swift movie, they were unhinged. You would have thought she was there. Like, we were singing with her. No one sat down. That's why I was in the front row. Where are we sitting?
We're like row F.
I've
So, like,
heard the best
6
seat for
rows up?
these things is to be in the front because then no one's standing, dancing in front of you.
It's okay.
If I have to stand this whole thing,
I
how
don't
long
think I'm
is
going to
this?
stand.
Is this 3 hours like Taylor Swift's?
No, it's my understanding of it, so don't quote me, is that it is the concert, but there's like where the interludes or however you say that word are like her, I don't want to say like memoir, but that's the best word I can think of right now. So it's not like just straight concert. What I'm very excited.
Like documentary style?
Ish, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like when she did Homecoming on Netflix, and then I think she had another one too. It goes through like the process of how she got there and like the prep work for it. But what I'm very interested to see, so in Homecoming, she had the 2 different outfits at Coachella. Based off the preview, I'm very interested to see how each song, because she wore a different outfit at every concert. So like how they transition between the outfits in the same songs.
Well, they probably didn't film every concert.
I think they did.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll
Based
see.
off what I've seen.
Interesting. So, well,
So yeah. So
speaking of Taylor Swift, if you didn't think she made enough money off of that movie the first time, she's re-releasing it with more songs. It was 3
it wasn't
hours.
the whole concert?
Huh?
It wasn't the whole concert?
It was, but she's adding in like some of her like she does a different acoustic song in every city, and so she's adding those in. She's adding like 4 or 5 of them. So the movie just gets even longer by like 20 minutes. It's gonna be like pushing 3 hours and 30
And they're
minutes
gonna
by
have
this
to put it
point.
at the end. That way people stay and watch the whole thing.
No, they'll put it right in the middle, and you won't even know where it is. It's gonna be a whole thing. But honestly, everyone's gonna watch it.
Everyone's
so.
going to watch that thing.
Well, you know, speaking of artists, Taylor Swift was the top artist this year on
no
Spotify
surprise
Rap.
there,
I mean,
though,
no
is it?
surprise there. But speaking of Spotify Raps and speaking of my good sister Joseph, he was going through his last night. And, you know, his checks out. And then we get to the end and he gets to his podcast. And my dear friend Joseph does not listen to this podcast, so I can talk all the smack about it or all the smack about him that I want because he's not going to listen.
Yep.
But, you know, he got to that little slide in his little review, and I was like, oh, you've listened to 2,600 minutes of podcast, and you have not listened to
A
mine.
single minute of the Mr.
And that's
Mr.
crazy.
podcast. That's rude. What are you gonna do about that, Zach?
You know, he's in timeout.
You know what? Can we call him?
We could.
So we're gonna handle this the aggressive way and just call him and ask him why he doesn't like our podcast.
Hello.
Hello.
What's up?
What are you doing?
I am putting clothes on for work. What are you doing?
Oh,
Well,
period.
we're recording our podcast, and we just wanted to know why you don't listen to it. Everyone's listening, so make sure you answer this carefully. This is being recorded, by the way, if that's like a legal disclaimer.
But in Texas, we
wow.
don't have to tell you that it's being recorded.
Oh.
So
So we just wanna know why you
got
don't
that
like
for free.
it.
We want to know why you listen to 2,600 minutes of podcast in 2023,
And not 1 minute of
but
the Mr.
not
Mr.
one
podcast.
of them could be the Mr. Mr. podcast. And you were in my wedding. You are one of my best friends. You live 2 minutes away from me. You're my
Oh, wow,
dog's
this is-
uncle.
This is too early in the morning. Well, first of all,
Well,
I think
gave you a
Spotify-
nice little text message first.
I think Spotify is incorrect because Beyonce was in my top 5
Yeah, Lady Gaga was your number 1. That's crazy.
and Lady Gaga was in my number 1. Yes. That's a good question, guys.
You know, I shout you out every week, but you have no idea because you don't listen.
No, you don't.
I don't.
No, you don't.
But I decided to shout you out this week, and I said, you know what? He's not going to listen, so he's not even going to know. And then Trey decided we were going to call you and figure out why you don't listen. So
Let me ask
we
you-
have 27 minutes for you to explain to us why.
Oh wow. Okay.
Is it
Oh, wow.
because your butt hurt that Zach has had Ryan on here and not you?
I think so, and I think I'm a lot more funnier than Ryan.
You'll have your moments.
Oh.
And also, Ryan told me that you're not that funny on the podcast.
Nice.
Oh.
Okay, so we're
We have
just
other
gonna-
calls to make.
Yeah, that's crazy. No, we can't call Ryan. Okay,
Why
well,
not?
Zach, do you feel at peace with this?
you know, we finally got an answer, so I appreciate
What
it.
was
Well,
the
Zach,
answer?
if you would like to send me your favorite episodes,
You
I
can listen to
start
this
there.
one.
They're all his favorite.
This one.
This might be my favorite episode, to be honest.
Oh, thank God! I can't wait for 2024 to still not be in your Spotify Rap.
I guess we'll check in December of 2024.
Yeah, you're just gonna play our podcast on repeat while you're sleeping.
sleeps.
While you're sleeping, so you don't have to hear it, and then it's just your top. Okay,
Right.
well, thank you, sister. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy your work day.
Okay, you two enjoy this beautiful rainy day.
Subscribe to
yes.
Mr. Mr. Podcast on all places you can find podcasts. Goodbye.
Yes,
Bye.
Well,
No, we have our answer.
there you go.
Okay. Well. Oh well.
Oh, well is right. So, Zach and I were having a conversation the other day. Well, it was really me. I was like, do we need each other Christmas gifts? Like, I don't know. Like, do we? Because, like, I feel like anytime we want something, we just kind of buy as it is. And I said to Zach, I was like, it's just not as fun when, like, you know, it comes out of your joint bank account. Like, I could just buy it myself. Zach didn't love that idea.
Well, all the gifts I bought you last year came out of my bank account. They didn't come out of our joint bank account because
You
I
got a
don't
bank
want.
account?
Yes, I had a bank account before meeting you, and I have since held on to said bank account
No, there was an
to
offshore account.
buy gifts because I remember the first gift I bought you when we were together was from Neiman Marcus, and I used our joint bank account because that's where the majority of my money was. And I was like, oh, well, this is a problem. So then I went and transferred money out of it so you couldn't see where I was ringing things up from.
Smart. How much you got in that account?
I don't have much.
So what's my Christmas budget?
Well, you said we weren't doing gifts as you just started.
So you spent my Christmas budget?
I didn't take much out.
Interesting.
Yeah, so Trey said that we really didn't need to do gifts this year. And I'm like, well, that's crazy because there have been a lot of packages that have already come in that you have just gone and shoved away.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, I know that you already got me stuff. I don't know what it is. I'm like, I'm not going to sit here. And last year, I was like, I don't have enough for you. And he was like, no, you have plenty. He was like, I don't have that much for you either, which my mom always says that too. And so finally, I think when I turned 13 or 14 or maybe even younger, Mom's like, okay, well, Christmas isn't going to be that big this year. And then I wake up Christmas morning and there's presents everywhere. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so just every year it continued and I would just laugh every year. So then we got to last year and Trey was like, yeah, it's just, we don't have a lot, or I don't have a lot for you. And I was like, okay, well, I mean, I could believe this, or he could be doing the same thing my mom does and just trying to pull the wool over my eyes and then wake up. And sure enough, I had like 5 nice little gifts for Trey last year and he had like 18 for me. And I was like, okay, well, this is really bad optics and makes me look like a piece of crap, but you know?
Well, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that's all the time we have for today.
Do you even remember what I got you last year?
I do.
What?
You got me a Goyard backpack.
Mm-hmm.
You got me a sweater that I could not wear until recently. You got me at least one pair of shoes, if not more. Mm-hmm. You got me a lot of nice things.
I really knocked out of the park the first year we were dating, and we were like, I don't know, 2-3 months into dating. I got him a MacBook. I got him some Louboutins. I got him some cologne. I got him some like off-white shirts that he wanted. And the next year I was like, oh, now what? And this year I'm like, I'm out. I don't know what to get him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm just like, there's nothing I want. I like giving a gift. I don't love receiving a gift. Like giving gifts is my love language. Receiving gifts, because I'm just like, if I wanted it, I would have bought it. And I don't want to ask for things I don't want. Then it just seems wasteful. And I hate being wasteful.
Have you seen the fridge with all the leftovers that you keep?
Well, I don't want to waste it, so I'm going to bring it home in case I eat it.
And then when you don't and we still waste it.
Then I can throw it away.
And then we waste the trash bag because we have to throw it away.
Well, speaking of wasteful, Neiman Marcus released their list of fantasy gifts for this year. I'm going to go through a few of my favorites and see, Zach, if you just had all the money in the world, if this is something you would purchase, okay?
These are what?
Neiman Marcus fantasy gift list.
What is a fantasy?
You'll see in a second.
Okay.
So for $510,000, you can have a wish come true and be in a Disney animation.
Nah.
Okay. So basically, you get a cameo role in some sort of animated film. For
like
$500,000.
Ellen did with Dory.
I don't know if you're that prominent of a role, but something like that. For $210,000,
maybe if Joseph listens to the podcast more, we could be.
Yeah, then we'd have the money to buy something like that. But we don't have the ad revenue because Joseph doesn't listen.
Go, Joseph. Great job.
For $210,000, you can go to the Olympics in Paris, stay at a 5-star hotel, and be in a suite with Team USA and Ralph Lauren.
Yeah, I could do that.
No.
Why?
I don't want Ralph Lauren in my suite. I paid for that. Get out. Get your own.
Well, do you think maybe it's his suite that he's extended an invite?
Could be.
Okay.
That's okay. Could be.
Yep, I could do that one.
This one's interesting. For $485,000, you can go on an Indonesian treasure hunt on a yacht. So this one kind of pays for itself. So you're on a 137-foot yacht. You do this whole snorkeling adventure, blah, blah, blah. And at the end, you get a $150,000 voucher that you can use to fill your treasure chest with exquisite Neiman Marcus jewelry. So a week on a yacht plus $150,000, not terrible. This is interesting. $975,000 for a one-of-one Cadillac Carmen.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either, and I wouldn't pay $1 million for it.
It's nice though. I know what the car
Is
is. It's nice. Yes.
You can do for $75,000. We're really
All over the
low
board here.
Well, we're going lower.
Every price point.
Right.
You can do an immersive Baccarat crystal experience. Basically, you go and you blow your own glass.
It probably wouldn't look good.
No,
I'd rather just spend $75,000.
it's a 5-day trip.
The
First
real
class
ones.
airfare included.
You know, maybe unpopular opinion, but going back to the treasure hunting, snorkeling is not really my favorite thing to do. I don't really enjoy it.
Yeah, no, I actually hate it.
Water always gets in my mouth. I cannot figure out how to use a snorkel.
I get claustrophobic, and then I forget how to breathe.
I feel like
correctly.
I feel like I would actually enjoy scuba diving more than I do snorkeling. But I've never done it.
Being in a wetsuit. I'm just like, that's me in a wetsuit.
I would say it's better than snorkeling though. I would say that.
We had to put a wetsuit on when we did that white water rafting in Colorado.
Yeah, I didn't like that either.
I
'Cause
know,
then
and
the
they were
cold
like-
water
they
was
were
just
wet.
like in there.
Yeah, it was not fun.
It wasn't great. Now, someone the other day told me they were going like shark diving or something, and I was like, that is so not on my
It's
list of
also
things
not
to
for me
do
either.
ever.
I'm a
Let
water
me go
guy. I
find
love
something
the
that
water,
hates me and
but
approach it. What? If I wanted to do that, I could. There's so many other places I could go.
I love to see the water and be around the water. I don't really care to be in water.
You know what? You want a fun little story? So I've pissed off a lot of people with this podcast, or mostly with Because BS in my day. And I remember one story in particular I told. This was like 3 or 4 years ago. I went on a bachelorette trip. I'll tell the whole story again because I don't give a shit. I feel the same way. I went on a bachelorette trip to Austin for a friend, and her bridesmaid was like an influencer. She had like 300,000 followers. And we were all going to stay at this hotel, and then she like was really pushing for us to all stay at this Airbnb, and she had us all Venmo her like our portion of the Airbnb. So we get there and find out that she got this Airbnb for free, and she was charging us what it would have been had we have paid for it. So homegirl made a few $1,000s off of us, and so we were like, okay, whatever, kind of ignored it. She planned the entire trip. Every day for 3 days, she had glam come to the house to do her glam, just her glam, for the trip, because we had a photo shoot to do every single day, and everything we did was like some sort of sponsored activity for her. So I went on the podcast, and I was like, this girl is a bitch. She's a selfish bitch. And then I saw her at the mall maybe like 3 weeks later, and she was like, I heard what you said about me. And I was like, what did I say about you? She said, you said that I was a selfish bitch. And I was like, because you are a selfish bitch. I said it there, I'll say it to your face. And then I saw her again recently at some event, and she was like, hey, she was like, where do I know you from? She's like, I know you from somewhere. And I was like, I don't know. But I knew. That's just one of the many people I've pissed off. No regrets.
That was
What was I
such
talking
a
about?
that was such a random sidebar, but thank
Yeah.
you.
You're welcome. Well, Zachary, you got a Christmas party to plan.
I do.
I got real estate to sell and Christmas gifts to buy.
Oh, yeah, me too.
You can follow me on Instagram at Trey_Stewart.
You can follow me and my stocking stuffer adventure on Instagram at Zach_Luker.
You can't follow Zach's trees on Instagram. I've always thought about it, but you can follow our podcast on YouTube at the Mr. Podcast.
Bye.
Bye.